one of the things that I've been saying I was going to do for like, I don't even know how long, is a Q&A video, but I have not had time to like sit down and go through my past Insta stories and compile like DM questions and post questions and email questions and pick out the ones that like I get asked most frequently, but also some of like the really, really good questions that like I wanted to talk about. So I finally had time because for some reason, actually no, not for some reason, I worked a few classes in the middle of the night last night, and then I was like wide awake and didn't want to go back to sleep. So I got done a lot of my housework at like 3 a.m. this morning. So now today I have all this extra time that I can do some of the things that have been on my freaking to-do list. So that's what I'm doing. So I compiled a whole bunch of questions. I think I have picked 15 questions. I'm going to try to get to like as many as I can without making this video really, really long. But let's start with question 1. How old are your kids? I feel like I talk about this all the time, but my girls are 5, 7, and 9. They are all almost like to the day 25 months apart. Aubrey and Zoe are like 25 and a half months apart, but otherwise like they're pretty close to 25 months apart. It has always been crazy in our house, and Adam and I always joke that we're gonna have to like go on like a multi-year vacation while they go through their teen years, but we didn't even have to make it to teen years. Like they're already crazy, you guys. So yeah, 5, 7, and 9. And all girls. I have all girls because I know somebody's going to ask. No, we're not trying for a boy. No, we're not going to have a boy. No, we're not having any more. I always get that question. I'm gonna be honest, it's a little bit annoying when people are like, so you're gonna have a boy? No, there's nothing wrong with my girls. If I ever decided to have another, we would adopt because I don't want to go through pregnancy and a C-section again. But we are done. Okay. Which one next? My favorite book of all time is really, really, really hard because I have a lot of them. And I think it's hard because I have a lot of favorites in like a lot of different genres. So I am absolutely obsessed with all of the Harry Potters. If I had to choose one of the Harry Potters, probably The Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite out of all of them. In terms of the movies, the last few movies are my favorite, just because I like how they like, I don't know. I like how they changed as they went along. But yeah, so out of the Harry Potter books, Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite. And then if we go into like another genre, I really, like I listen to a lot of self-help. I listen to a lot of like autobiography, memoir type books. So some of my favorites, because I really, truly cannot narrow it down, are Girl Stop Apologizing, Girl Wash Your Face, both by Rachel Hollis. I really, really, really liked Becoming by Michelle Obama. I am not, Adam and I were joking about this yesterday, I am not a political person at all. And for some people that would like look at my Instagram and like the books that I've shared over the last like, I don't know, 12 weeks or so, I listened to most of my books on Audible because it's just easier being a mom on the go. I can like fold laundry and also listen to a book at the same time. I would love to sit down and like hold a book in my hands and read. I would love that, except for when you run a business and you teach and then you have a family business in addition to that, plus you have 3 kids. Some things just get lost. So instead, I listen to my books on Audible. So anyway, we were joking because a lot of people might think that I'm like politically focused or that I have like this interest in politics. I know nothing about politics. Literally zero. If there was like a number less than 0, that would be how much I know about politics. But Michelle Obama's book Becoming isn't like, she talks about her political stuff, but it's not politically focused. And then I just finished last night while I was up in the middle of the night, and doing laundry and dishes and packing lunches and all sorts of mom things at 3 a.m. I finished Joe Biden's book, Promise Me Dad, which again, he shares a lot of his story, because he was and has been in politics for 40 plus years. And his son, Beau Biden, was also in politics and, you know, serving his country and all that kind of stuff. So that's like involved in the story, but that's not the point. So those are two of my like absolute favorites, Becoming by Michelle Obama, as well as Promise Me Dad. I also really, really like any book by Mitch Albom, fictional, great reads. Yeah, I don't know. The Shack, it is a religious fictional book, but love it. I loved the book Hot Zone, which if you have no idea what that is, I don't blame you. It's a fictional book about Ebola that I read in like high school. April Raintree, I really like. I don't remember the author. I read that in high school and like I still love it. I think my mom still has my copy at her house. Yeah, I love to read, so it's really hard for me to pick like an absolute favorite. But if I had to narrow it down, it would probably be one of Rachel Hollis's books and then the entire Harry Potter series. So, you know, like 9 books. Can that count as like my one favorite? Because it's really hard for me to narrow it down. I should do like an entire YouTube video just on like my top 10 to 20 reads and things that like you should read in 2019. That'd be a good read. Even though like 2019 is almost half over, you could read like a book a month. Listen to a book a month. You could do that. Or maybe we could do a book club. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm nerding out because I love all the books. But anyways, tangent over. How did Adam and I meet? We met through a mutual friend. I worked with a friend of mine that he went to high school with, and yeah, that's how we met. We met when I was in grade 10? I don't know, grade 10 or 11. And then we actually started dating ish shortly before I had Sophie. And then we've been together ever since Sophie we've been like officially together since Sophie was like 3 months old. So yeah, that's how we met. We met through a mutual friend. And the next question, am I married? Yes, I am married. Adam and I have been married for 7 years this July, which is crazy to me. We actually got married at the Toronto Zoo, which nobody believes until I show them our wedding album. But yes, we actually did get married at the Toronto Zoo. I wish I had my photo album. It was sitting on my desk, but I don't have it here anymore. But anyways, yes, we did get married at the Toronto Zoo. We were 20 when we got married. And I wanted something that was like really going to encompass like us, and that is like totally us. It was the us then and it's us now. It's where we went on like our first like outing date, kind of like official date. We went to the Toronto Zoo. We took Sophie. We stayed in Toronto. Like it was just a big thing. So it's always been a part of our life. We had a zoo membership for years. And then when I found out that you could get married there, I was like, yeah, sign me up. So yeah, that is that. One thing I wish I did more of, totally out of left field maybe, but I wish I ran more. I have a really bad knee, and I used to run track when I was in high school, when I was in elementary school, up until I had Sophie pretty much. I ran all the time. Actually, after Sophie, I still jogged. I jogged a little bit after I had Zoe, but I don't anymore. I don't run, I don't jog. I would love to do more of that. It's actually one of the things I really want to focus on now that it's like almost kind of not winter anymore because Canada can't figure its shit out. But once the weather gets nicer, that's one of the things that I want to work towards, is being able to maybe run some kind of something next year. I would tell myself, oh yeah, I'm going to do it by the end of this year. But the thing is, I know that my body's not there yet. So I would love by the beginning of next year to be able to run like a Mother's Day race or something. Biggest tip for someone with anxiety? Holy sheesh, that's a loaded question. Everybody's different. Everybody is different when it comes to anxiety, to mental health, to what helps and what doesn't. I will say that going to therapy and figuring out what your triggers are is huge. Get a pen and paper. It doesn't matter if it's a like $2 book from the dollar store, from Staples, from Walmart. Like, grab a pen and paper and journal. Write about things that are going on in your life. Try to figure out, just like what if you'd write a food journal and then try to figure out if you have food sensitivities, or if something's causing you pain or bloat or discomfort or whatever, or if foods are causing you to gain weight instead of lose weight, or like whatever. People keep a food diary all the time. Keep an anxiety journal, keep a mental health journal, and that will help you kind of figure out like what things are happening in my life that are like igniting major anxiety, and what things help bring it down. For me, I know that chaos in my life doesn't help my anxiety. I know that if I'm not eating well, if I'm not exercising, if I'm not taking care of myself, those things will affect it. I have some major personal triggers when it comes to my anxiety, because I have not just anxiety, but I have PTSD, and I also have some OCD tendencies as well, which it's like a chicken or the egg thing. Like, sometimes my anxiety causes my OCD, sometimes my OCD causes my anxiety. Like, they go together. Same with my PTSD. Like, I have some PTSD triggers that cause my anxiety, and sometimes my anxieties, like my anxiety attack, will trigger something in my PTSD, so I'll have like a PTSD reaction as well. So it all depends. I definitely suggest making sure that you are working out, you are going for a walk, you are getting some kind of physical activity every day. Make sure you're drinking enough water, you're getting enough sleep, you are really focusing on your nutrition. I know that if I'm eating a lot of like high processed, high carb, high gluten, high sugar kind of foods, my body gets shaky, and I can tell that like my anxiety is gonna like just blow up. The other thing, see a doctor, talk to somebody. Don't think that there's something wrong with you just because you have anxiety. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you if you have anxiety or mental health of any sort. But just get help. Go talk to somebody. I see my doctor on a regular basis. I talk to my pharmacist about my medications on a regular basis, and I see a psychiatrist. So I don't actively go to therapy now. I used to go to talk therapy before. I've been offered group therapy 1,000,001 times. It's just not something that's for me, but it does work for a lot of people. My best friend works in mental health, and it works for a lot of people. It's really beneficial to a lot of people. So don't discount it for you just because it doesn't work for me. But those are the like major things that I would say to do. Definitely seek professional help from your doctor. Where do I get my letter boards? I will link it below, but I get them from 2 different companies. The letterboard company, and I can't retrogram letterboards, I think is the second one. I think that's what it's called on Instagram. But I'll link them below. That's where I've gotten all of mine. I have a really big, long, like rectangular one. I have a tiny little rectangular one, and then I have my square one. That's where I get all of my like letters too for it. You can get letter boards at like Winners and HomeSense, and I think even Walmart carries them now, because they're like a new piece of home decor. I use mine for my Instagram. I don't hang them up around my house, at least not right now. But yeah, so that's where I get my letter boards. Why did you leave Beachbody? I get asked this 1,000,001 times a day, honestly. But I have a YouTube channel that I will link below explaining all of that rather than me going into all of the detail. But basically, it was just time for me to cut ties and walk away. My favorite pre-workout is still, and probably always will be unless I find a better option out there, is my Energized from the Beachbody Performance line. Just because I left the company doesn't mean that I don't enjoy the products. I still drink, I don't have any right now because I'm waiting for it in the mail, because I ran out, but I still love their pre-workout. I still do their workouts every day. So yeah, that's my favorite pre-workout. Again, I will link it below. What do I do now? I teach, this is some of my, well, these are my kids' drawings, but this is a bunch of my like teaching stuff. This is my like classroom. So yeah, I teach now every morning, for 3 to 4 hours every morning, before my kids wake up. And then I teach on the weekends. I make my own schedule. I kind of teach around what works for our family, what works for me. I can add hours, I can decrease hours. So that's what I do now, which I also talk about in a couple of my other videos as well. I think there's only a couple of questions left. How did I lose 100 pounds? That is a YouTube video all in its own. But by focusing on my nutrition, my water intake, moving my body like 20 to 30 minutes a day, nothing crazy, and having support. I honestly think that you can have, a couple of those pieces of the puzzle and get nowhere. But as soon as you start to find all the pieces to the puzzle, like you get the nutrition and you get the water and you get some kind of physical movement. It doesn't have to be a high intensity like HIIT workout. It could be a walk around your block. Like it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just about getting your body moving, getting your heart pumping, doing something that you love. But I really, really, really strongly believe that having that like support system, that community behind you is massive. Like it makes a huge difference to be sitting in your own head and know that there are other people that understand your struggles, that have your back, that can support you when you feel like crap. Those things make a huge difference. So definitely that is how I lost 100 pounds. It didn't happen overnight. And I've shared this, with medications, I'm back up like 43 pounds or something, which I am working on doing the exact same things. I'm following the same thing that I did to lose 100 pounds, playing with medication with my doctor, figuring out, the things that are going to help me stay within a healthy weight range, but also within a healthy mental health state of mind, which is very difficult. But those are the things that I'm working on. And then the last question. Okay, there's a couple more questions. I'm only going to answer one more. The budget by paycheck workbook. You guys actually asked for this to have its own YouTube video, so I'm going to do like a very own YouTube video specifically for this. But this is the budget by paycheck workbook. It is how Adam and I are paying off our debt. It is helping us with budgeting, planning, figuring out how to make money work, stretch money, save more money, all the things. But I will do a full YouTube video on that. The thing that I love about it is I have followed and tried to do things for years, following Dave Ramsey's like monthly budget. I have done so many things out on the debt, like snowball stuff, trying to figure out what works for us. But figuring out a monthly budget is great, but it's not great when you get paid bi-weekly, or twice a month or whatever. Like Adam gets paid bi-weekly, I get paid twice a month on like the 7th and the 23rd or something. So for us, it came down to trying to figure out how to make every 2 weeks work, rather than looking at it in like this big span, because money changes throughout the course of the entire month, with bills, like with outgoing money and incoming money. So the budget by paycheck workbook is fantastic because it's all about really narrowing in on your income by paycheck. So that's why I love that. But I hope that answers a ton of your guys' questions. I love doing Q&As. But hopefully I will do another one again later. I can cover some of the other questions that you guys often have, and I will talk to you